Food. Food? Food? What makes good food? What is the most overrated food? What is the main ingredient in vegan food? Dining in restaurants is discussed, and who are the best chefs? All of this and much more feature in this video. So hello fellas.
Well, go on, my G.
What up, bitch nugget?
So when you think about food, what makes good quality food?
I've always thought good quality food is typically, the freshest, most opportune time for picking it. So, you don't want to wait like 6 weeks to pick an apple if it's already ripe. Like, you just want to go poink and just put it in your farm shop or in your local supermarket.
Would you say there's a considerable difference between food in a supermarket to restaurant food?
Yeah, on the basis that for restaurants, typically, it's typically sourced from a variety of sources, whereas supermarkets have their own sort of supply chains in place, obviously get the most amount of volume in stores, so obviously people can just buy what they need.
It does kind of depend on the restaurant place as well. Like, if it's like a family run place, then they'll have certain suppliers set up that they have like relationships with. But if it's a chain restaurant, like it's all pretty much all from the same place, like a big warehouse that they own somewhere or something, and then it gets shipped around.
I would say good quality food is kind of food that you have on occasions. Probably all the best food we all enjoy. If you had it all the time, you'd probably sort of get really fed up with it and kind of wouldn't appreciate kind of what's on your plate.
Aye, so it's like a relationship.
I mean, like March 14th, one day where certain things happen, exactly 1 month after Valentine's.
I think the most overrated food is the roast dinner / Sunday dinner, however you want to approach it. Because essentially all it is on the plate is kind of a bit of meat and some vegetables. And it's like, because I don't really like gravy. It's a very dry plate anyway. It's kind of, I find it really dull and stuff. It's like, there's no, even if you add gravy, there's not really that much moisture in it. And I kind of find the textures on it are a bit meh. But I kind of, if someone like provides me with, if I have a roast dinner like with the family or whatever, I'll eat it out of the common courtesy because someone's had to sit there for a couple of hours cooking the meat and topping up all the vegetables and stuff. But I kind of wouldn't make half for myself, as I don't really like them.
I can understand it. I mean, it depends on who cooks your roasts as well, because if you cook your own roast and you go, oh well, they're not really that nice, then means you're a shit roast cook. If it's your family, ooh boy, you better not say anything because that's your ass.
But with it as well, I've had like many of the families and friends, etc., sort of give me a roast dinner. I've never really, except you walked away from the plate enjoying it. I kind of appreciated the food, but it's kind of, I didn't really enjoy it as a meal.
Which is fair. I've got that moist fucking chicken. Having accidentally learnt the ancient secret technique of cooking your chicken upside down so that the actual meat just like bastes in its own juices, I was like, man, this is a really good idea. I should do this more often, except my chicken isn't going to be flat every time I do it. And the ones, because I was putting a chicken in a seasoning bag. I just happened to put the thing upside down like 3 hours later after it was finished cooking in the bag. Take it out the bag, it's upside down. I'm like, oh no, I've ruined this chicken, it's gonna be dry. No, it was the most moist thing imaginable. I was like, yes, I did this on purpose.
I do think with Sunday dinner, it gets all of its hype because it's a British tradition. It's kind of the food that kind of this country puts on a plate and says to the rest of the world, look at us, look how amazing we are, even though it's the dullest meal in existence. And I think with it as well, it's purely because it's a traditional meal as well, so you tend to sort of have it on a Sunday, either kind of in the afternoon or sort of the early evenings. It's kind of where it gets its hype from, to be honest, but I don't think it's justified.
When we were kids, everyone used to hire going to Dixie's as like the absolute most, and I quote, pengest meal. Please never make me say that word again. I feel dirty.
For those that aren't aware, what is Dixie's?
It's a takeout chicken shop. The kind of takeout chicken shop you'd find in every town centre in every part of the country.
It's the kind of chicken shop that's only really good at just before 5 in the morning. just as you've stopped being on the lemonade.
Having
And then-
been in a Dixie's at 3 a.m. with friends because I don't typically eat Dixie's because I always find it really, really greasy. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, this is not the kind of food I want to be eating at 3 a.m. Like, you know, if the Krusty Krab's open, you know, and I can get crab and mate, then, you know, that's fine. But God, no. And then, like, the more modern thing is just, oh yeah, let's all have a cheeky Nando's. Like, this is the most overrated South African chicken that's ever been produced.
It's like with Nando's as well. I get what you're on about. It's like I've never had one, and I get death looks from people like I've murdered somebody in their family. It's like I've never been to a Nando's. I just don't get it.
Like, you've murdered their firstborn, and they're mildly offended because you dare to breathe the same air.
Look, I don't mind the refillable drink.
But you can get that in any restaurant, but my issue is, like, I look at the prices of Nando's and I'm like, this is not anything you couldn't get anywhere else for like a third of the price, and you'd still have a pretty good meal.
That's true. The first time I went, I went for like a couple of bits, like a small bit of chicken, and like I got spicy rice on the side of it, and it was like a shot glass of rice had been poured into an ashtray and then handed over to me, and I was like, that cost me £5. Thing is this was like 12 years ago.
It's gonna be more now because obviously inflation.
I think there's more grease on some of those chickens. There's probably oil in the Middle East. It's quite impressive, to be fair.
Okay, that's going to be a debate because that's going to be on a location by location basis.
But from what I've seen of Dixie chicken, it's basically like a big chicken nugget. Baked potato.
Okay.
I don't disagree with him, actually.
What don't you like about the baked potato?
It's fucking boring.
It exists. I'm offended it exists.
It's the fact that people sit there going about how great it is, and it's like, oh, I've always wanted to eat my dinner with a plastic fork in a tray.
Oh, I had the same conversation not more than about a week ago from when this was recorded. It's just like, oh, why don't you want to bake potato for dinner? I'm like, ew.
Oh, that just like, I remember somebody like making me eat one before, saying, oh, it's a healthier option, and I was like, boring. Like, it literally has no flavour to it. It's just,
I don't know, just a big plate of mash.
it's like a chip in proto form or something.
It's death. It's just there's nothing else, and that's all that's left, and you'd still rather die.
I can understand that. Fair. It's sort of very basic food, isn't it? It's like there's no like overwhelming sort of texture or flavours to it.
Just the fact that you can either cook it for like 4 hours in an oven or whatever long that takes, or it's 5 minutes in a microwave. Either way, it's gonna be boring. And it's not like I'm Kevin Smith recovering from a heart attack or anything.
I can add to the potato subject. I can't stand sweet potato. That's somehow even worse than regular potato.
Like sweet potato fries, that sort of thing.
I think just sweet potato generals. I don't know how they made that food, but it's utterly just. I'm not fit for human consumption. It's that bad.
Ooh. I don't really eat a lot of sweet potato myself. I eat, it's just normal potato, maybe seasoned a little, but that's probably about as far as I get with potato. It's either boiled, mashed, or made into chip form. That's pretty much about it for me.
I don't mind spicy fries, actually, now that we're talking about seasoned potatoes.
It's the fact with potatoes as well. I think it's because it's literally the most basic food ever. There's no enjoyment to really eating a potato.
I mean, if you work on it, yeah, sure, you can make something nice, but generally most approaches to potato is just there. Burn it to the ground.
Oh, well, if you don't want to eat a carrot, don't disguise it as something else, just eat the damn carrot.
I get the reason why, and I understand, obviously, it's because, more people, are trying to avoid, harming the animals. They're going to get harmed regardless.
Yeah,
such
there's
is
no
nature
way
of the
that
beast.
those farms are letting those animals just stroll past.
Yeah.
They are
That's why
definitely keeping a load of wild animals so that you can get your, your vegan meatballs or whatever the hell people.
Do you think they kind of do sort of vegan versions of like sausage rolls and X, Y, Z, so people don't feel a bit left out when they change their sort of food diet?
I don't mind the concept, but it's just like, just call it what it is. It's a vegan roll. Don't call it a vegan sausage roll because, who wants a vegan sausage? Just think of corn, you.
It's kind of a bit like vegetarian burgers. I remember having one before. I remember biting into it and it just tasted like paste. What tends to be sort of vegan alternatives to meat products? What do they put in them, if you know?
Normally like bean curd and stuff like that.
Soy, a lot of soy. Ironically, I actually have an aside on this one. World famous wrestler Bryan Danielson, or as he's known in WWE, Daniel Bryan, yeah. Ironically enough, he went vegan in the early parts of his career because he was never really a big meat eater. Ironically, because being from the state of Washington in America, they eat a lot of elk and deer. Animals you can find in the woods and you go hunt. Seeing the carcasses just like absolutely ruined him. So he was vegetarian for a good portion of his life, but he found he actually had an allergy to soy, so he can't do the soy thing. He has to stick to vegetarianism, which kind of kills him a little bit. He's like, he hates harming the animals, but he knows that in his heart of hearts, he can't help, how his body is.
I do think on the veganism subject, whenever I see kind of like vegan written on like a product, I kind of instantly kind of think it's going to be like a less in quality than kind of the original product they're kind of based on as. I don't know how to word this, but it's kind of like the substitute ingredient they put in it isn't to the high standard as the original.
You mean like Brand X?
Essentially, it's kind of a bit like, I'm a big fan of kind of cereal and milk. So it's kind of, if you replace milk with soy milk, it'd look disgusting, to be honest. It wouldn't have the same sort of taste.
I've tried soy milk and it just oh god, I just end up throwing a whole bowl in the sink. I was just like, oh, be gone with you, devil milk.
Can you describe kind of what the taste of it was like?
Velvety, but at the same time, it was just the most bland thing. Because like milk is bland, because milk is milk. With like I'm talking about cow milk as opposed to like goat's milk or like ox milk. Yeah, putting the soy milk on, I was just like, this is the most gross kind of thing because it just feels, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't taste right. I mean, yeah, I get. Obviously, in some cases, it is better for you, but I'm just sitting there like, this is really gross, like, just ew.
Don't know if I've ever heard somewhere kind of relating on the soy thing. Doesn't soy do more harm to the planet than it does good?
Depends on how it's manufactured, because obviously you can get manufactured soy and then obviously you can grow it organically, but I mean, it's always dependent on where you source it from.
The only place I could think you get soy from is probably the Amazon rainforest, which probably at the time of recording is probably just 2 trees left by the rate they're cutting it down.
Although by the time you're hearing this could be a leaf.
By the time you're hearing this, that forest is gone. We're all gonna die. Enjoy life.
What is the gimmick with restaurants serving food on pretty much anything other than a plate? I think I just have an absolute hatred. It's like, for example, I'll set the scene. You're at the restaurant with your family, and then like you order your food, blah 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 blah, and they'll come back, and then they'll bring like your food on anything other than an actual plate. So was it the one time my food arrived on some kind of like sort of a wooden bowl? I kind of dislike that, to us, because I trust a normal plate, because with a normal plate you can sort of properly wash it and stuff. You can kind of remove any sort of bacteria on it that's kind of can give you sort of any food poisoning. You can kind of trust the plate, you know within reason if it's a good plate or not. But kind of if your food gets served on like a wooden board, you don't really trust it, because you know for a fact that probably the staff in the kitchen are probably going to struggle to wash that and stuff, and I just don't trust it, to be honest. I kind of prefer just a plate.
This guy right here. I think the irony of that is it's not just a food thing, it's a drink thing as well, because here's a fun story. A Moscow Mule exists, and typically, because of the nature of that drink and the story behind it, you typically drink out of copper mugs. Obviously, humans ingesting too much copper is a bad thing. So I think it was New York. I'm probably wrong, but in New York there were a series of bars, and this was, I think, in the 30s. So it's been a while, but there was a salesman who had a large amount of a specific kind of alcohol that Russians are very fond of. It's vodka.
You can't say vodka, Brock. It's not.
I know, but I've tried to be subtle.
We have to take sponsored by Smirnoff.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, that's a fair point. He had a large amount of vodka he couldn't get rid of, because obviously, Americans, to them, vodka is a bit of an unusual thing, not at the time. Now they just drink it like water, which is ironically where it gets its name from. But there was a bartender in a bar that needed an idea for a new drink, and he had for some reason just acquired a bunch of copper mugs, and he was like, he doesn't know what to do with them. So obviously this vodka salesman is, drinking, and he's like, and I think there was a story of him seeing these copper mugs, or they were talking about it. So he was like, can you do something with these? Put some vodka in, but I think it was put some tonic water in, did some mixing about with the various ingredients, made the sort of first iteration of the Moscow Mule, and went, yeah, this actually isn't too bad. And then in order to sort of promote the vodka and obviously sell the copper mugs, this salesman would go from bar to bar and get a photo of bartenders using obviously the copper mugs and the vodka. So obviously you can help just sort of sell the product just through going, well, I went to this this bar and this bartender used it, so you can try it. And actually, it turned out to work pretty well. And that's the story of the Moscow Mule.
Going on holiday, I think 2 years ago, and we were abroad. We were having dinner, and it was one of these restaurants where they did, I think it's lobster, but because we were abroad, they felt the need to ask, do you want lobster? And then the man came round with this live lobster, if presented in front of your face, and he's like, do you want this lobster for your dinner? And I was just like, no. If anything, I think I'm a bit put off the live animal looking at my face. You can
judging you going, you're gonna eat me today, aren't you? I see it in your eyes.
When you said no, was there any chance the lobster just kind of went yes, and then the guy just froze it at another table, and then
if I had loads of money, I could literally go up to the bar and below, here's X amount of money. I would rather you just chucked it back in the sea. I couldn't bear to eat that, to be honest.
They wouldn't do that though. They'd just, put it in the back room until you've gone and then resell them later.
100%. But I did see a video before. I think it was of Tyson Fury. I think he was out with his family, and this happened to him as well. And he said to the person, I will pay X amount of money if you chuck it back in the sea. And then they did eventually chuck it back in the sea.
Being asked if the food's okay when I'm like, literally had one bite.
I get that, because it's some service, they're just like, just want to make sure we're providing a good service. I get it. I think it's from people who haven't been doing it all that long, because people who have been doing it longer, I think, have a much better sense of, I've just shoved it in my mouth, give me about 5 minutes.
There's that, and people who keep sharing that Cat Williams joke, and he's like, table for 5? No, bitch, floor for 4 or whatever. That meme that's been circulating so long now that it keeps getting funny and then unfunny for every now and then when you see it.
Yeah, I think the worst thing I get at a restaurant in terms of services, not even in terms of service, but just the expectation of it is, obviously because we're not Americans, tipping isn't really a thing, because obviously most people make a wage, but at some restaurants it almost feels like, they are pointing a loaded shotgun at your head and saying, well, you better tip. I don't mind tipping, I just don't want to be put in a situation where I'm expected to do it, because, if I'm expected to tip, I'm more likely just to go, screw it, I'm going to give you less money, whereas if I feel like you've provided actual good service and you've gone out of your way, then sure, I'm going to give you a much better tip, as opposed to give me that 20% right now, I'm going to blow your brains out. I just wanted to play the chips. 20%.
I get what you need, to be fair. It's a bit like you kind of want to make them work for their money rather than just begging for money.
Too much work, but I don't want it to just feel like, I came in, I got normal service, and then I'm expected to tip. If, for example, I just really need something, or I've been kind of a pain, then I would expect to be tipping. But not if I've gone in and you've done what you do at any other restaurant. If I go somewhere, okay, you've done a birthday thing, fair enough, I will tip more just on the basis of, you've actually had to provide an extra service that you wouldn't typically have had to have provided. But you bringing me a plate of chips and a burger is not the epitome of great service, unless you did it and then you also offered me other services after that.
That's not the idea, bro. Just ordered a plate of chips.
Sometimes I go into restaurants because I'm literally sitting around for 5-10 minutes, because I'm going to places literally right at train stations, because I'm like, okay, I've got to get on the train, but I haven't really got time to have a big sit down meal. I've got enough time to maybe have a side. So to be a massive pain in the arse, I just order the cheaper thing on the menu.
Yeah, and then you do that, and then you get judged by the waiter and all the people around you. Just I'm just eating for convenience.
Yeah, sometimes I don't want to go into Tesco Express right next to the train station and get a sandwich for £1.10. I want to come into your restaurant and get a plate of chips for £2.10 just to be that guy.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a cheap sandwich from Tesco if it's only £1.10.
£1.50 and £1.20, but you get the point.
Customers who demand specific things, awkwardly specific. We had a guy come in the one, and he wanted his pizza base cooked first, and then the toppings put on and then cooked again, because he likes it extra crispy. And then he did the one thing that everybody kind of thought he would do, and he complained and asked for a different one. That's one of many irritating things we've had to deal with. Somebody once sent a waitress to where they grabbed the orders from to ask if the mayonnaise was vegan, and it was like, why did you come out, really? Somebody once asked a waitress, can you, like, you know, these are the things I'm allergic to, can you just, like, send them through to see what I can have? And on that list was stuff like soy, flour, gluten, wheat, milk, and eggs. And they asked the head chef, is there anything you can recommend this person eats? And the only response he had was go somewhere else. We can't just give them an apple, you know, if they could survive eating a flipping apple. Oh. God, people are stupid in the life of meal.
But people like that, how are they even still alive if they're like allergic or can't eat pretty much any ingredient that goes into any food ever?
This is just how people are. It's fucking insanity. Like, we had one woman come in. This was last year before the incident happened and the whole world to hide away. But somebody came in the once asking for a pasta, and they were like, "Oh, are there fresh tomatoes? Because I'm allergic to tinned tomatoes."
Okay.
That all those are real things that have happened in a short span when I was working at that place. Not including the people who order gluten-free and vegan cheese, not because they have those afflictions, but because they think it tastes nice. So, and then there are the people who, you know, mash up like a bottle of Stella and hide it in their food, claiming I've just found this. And when the food gets brought over to be checked by a chef, it's literally like a fork full of lasagna just resting on top of like a large piece of glass. It's just vicious. There's a Stella Artois logo kind of top stuck on the glass.
Gordon Ramsay. Do you think he knows what he's talking about, or is he just chatting shit?
Obviously, you know, he's done the proper training, so I think it's just his persona as and when it comes to prep is stuff he'd do. He thinks it's trendy, but maybe it's not as trendy as he thinks it is. That's not to say, you know, it's bad ideas, but, you know, maybe they need revisiting every now and again.
No, that's a fair point. Like, look, he does know what he's doing, obviously. Otherwise, he wouldn't be putting him on TV, building up his career and so on. Like, his restaurants would have gone under. Like, say, another chef who's probably going to be in this list later on. Yeah.
Yeah, Gordon's a nice got a reasonable personality when he's not on shows like Hell's Kitchen.
Get out there and tell them you're dragging two. And you go to the customers and tell them you fucked it up. I need another jacket, though. I can't go out there with this jacket. Hey, come here, you. If I tell you to get out there, I don't give a fuck if you got a thong up your fat crack. Get out there!
And MasterChef.
Please bring us perfection.
Voila.
First of all, it looks like someone's pooped on the plate.
Yeah, when it's MasterChef Kids, you know, the man cannot be nice enough.
Who do you want to be a chef like? Who's your favourite chef?
You.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Do you know who my favourite chef is?
No.
You.
Thank you.
Rip, like, MasterChef for adults, like, you better fucking clear that shit up there and then.
Yeah, but if he was like how he is with the adults to the kids, he wouldn't have a career.
Yeah, I think just watching him do his YouTube cooking when he's cooking by himself or with the occasional guest, it's a very relaxing experience. I'm like,
Steak of cauliflower.
Beautiful cauliflower steak.
A beautiful
Just cut
steak.
there.
I can't believe I'm saying that. Cauliflower steak. Should be a ribeye steak, not a cauliflower steak. What are
Sorry,
you doing
you're
to
on
me?
my terms now.
I can understand why he's such a good chef when he's calm and he's not, like, you know, hair on fire like Hades sort of thing.
I do, when I bring up with Gordon Ramsay, I do find it funny when people, the members of the public, make some food and then send it to him and he gets very agitated by it.
I get it. I guess, like, God damn it, you people on the internet, stop sending me terrible food on purpose.
I think if anyone is feeling a bit shit, just look up on into any social media here and look for what people have sent to Gordon Ramsay, and I think it will cheer you up, to be fair, because he kind of definitely doesn't hold back, does he? In fairness, there was a very wholesome programme he did. I think it's when Gordon Ramsay he went to prison, not him himself. He tried to get the inmates to run their own successful bakery business from inside the prison. And they gave him a really catchy name, which I've completely forgotten, because he couldn't really bollock him like he does with the usual ones, because he's in a prison and probably get murdered. But it's got a good contrasting progress from that and sort of Hell's Kitchen, where he's pretty much bollocking someone like every microsecond.
I kind of like those moments though, because I have seen that in restaurants when it's been busy.
Yeah, you get
minor error, like everything just gets destroyed and delayed.
great catchphrases of, you know, where's the lamb sauce and
Where's the lamb sauce?
you useless sack of Yankee Danky doodle shite.
Yankee danky doodle shite.
Oh, my favourite one is, you're just an idiot sandwich.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
Oh, that's a good one, that is.
It doesn't feel as authentic because it's just set, it's set up for laughs. Whereas you're calling someone a Saki Yankee Danky Doodle shite or just absolutely savaging them is much funnier because it's coming from an organic place.
Or my favourite one, when he did the high-pitched scream calling somebody a fucking donkey.
You fucking donkey!
I do like with Gordon Ramsay, this isn't food related, but I want to talk about it. Was it the hotel one? And like usually with that program, they rock up to like some American sort of town in the middle of nowhere, and it's just got dead bodies and everywhere, or buildings falling down. And just every problem under the sun you could think of, it's in that hotel. And I do remember the one episode of that program where it was this wood, where he turned up at this place, went in the room, and he pulled out like a blue UV light, and he was just going around the entire bit of furniture, just going, oh god, and he literally slept in like a forensics uniform because he just didn't want to get infected with the stuff on it. I can respect the pettiness.
I think I remember this. I think didn't he end up sleeping in like a hazmat suit?
Yeah, he did. Like literally sleeping.
I don't think I've seen that one, but I think I'd remember it if I had. He did the Kitchen Nightmares USA, and he went into this one restaurant obviously to improve it, and he went, I just hope it's not like the food that I had this morning for breakfast from the hotel because it was terrible. And she was like, what hotel was it? And he said the name. She's like, oh, we do the food for there. And he's like, oh, for God's sake. So and she actually tried to throw him out the restaurant. That was really funny.
I think my only sort of critique of him is our approaches to how we would make a burger are very different, but that's I think that's more of an English.
Do you want to do that again?
No. I'll keep it. Yeah, it's contagious. No, but it's a very individualistic approach to food because obviously he cooks his way, I cook my way, but obviously he cooks better than me because obviously he's the Michelin star chef and I'm just some guy out of my own kitchen.
But he does use a bit too much salt and pepper on everything, so
I think he might slightly overdo it. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Jamie Oliver, does he know what he's talking about, or is he just chatting shit?
I can absolutely shit, hasn't he has his moments where I can see the genuine good person in there, but half the time it's like you're setting yourself up because it's like you just want to be hated. He's the kind of guy where I kind of feel like there are skeletons in his closet, and it's not food related entirely. Some dodgy stuff having gone on with him. You just
there has been.
But that's not to say he's a bad chef. It's just in terms of how he's delivered himself as a media personality, like you can see with Gordon Ramsay, you can see all the positives of how he's done the approach, and he never feels like it's forced. Jamie Oliver just came and just got completely ass-handed school meals and going, it's going to develop the obesity crisis. Kids are fat. Kids were fat anyway because kids don't go outside anymore because the streets are dangerous. The obesity crisis would have happened regardless if he'd intervened or not, on the basis that it's happening in adults as well, because obviously we lead much more sedentary lives than we were 20, 30 years ago.
No, that's fair.
Say healthy eating is a bad thing because it can be some of the best stuff, but the way it was just I'm getting rid of all of it, and I'm not gonna let you cold. You're gonna cold turkey this. You're not gonna wean you off it slowly, which would have been a much better.
No more turkey twizzlers, Mr. Oliver.
Yeah, damn you.
I think
really saved the obesity crisis.
I am the obesity crisis.
I think, in fairness, not wanting kids to be fat is fine. It's just kind of the way he approached it, wasn't it?
I think it was the way. I think if he'd weaned everybody off it slowly, it might have been a much better idea. But it's because he just went, yeah, no, turkey twizzlers bin. It was just like, oh, I'm sorry, who are you? Where are you from? You have no power here.
Impressive is when you say the name Jamie Oliver, you just instantly see people going, oh, for God's sake.
To see you. If Jamie Oliver was a wrestler, he'd just draw heat. He would draw literal heat dimes.
You mean the guy who at one point had more cooking products available than B&Q? Jamie Oliver.
And yeah, he's probably the one who's dealt with financial issues the most.
Because then you have a bunch of restaurants which just shut down because they were just very unpopular.
Yeah.
Well, that and COVID, but yeah.
Plus, he didn't exactly go bankrupt because Channel 4 gave him a new TV show.
Thanks, Channel 4. Dick.
We almost got rid of him until Channel 4. One though was the safe part bit with, and Jamie Oliver's crying again.
Over at the prep station, Jamie Oliver is crying again. Kids' food should be healthy. Why isn't it healthy?
Even Americans don't like him. You have to be pretty unlikable for Americans not to like you.
Also calls people brother a lot.
Yeah,
I didn't realise it was Hulk Hogan.
That's where I was going. Crew.
We're going to play a game involving Jamie Oliver, and the game is it his kid's name? Or have I made it up? The first child name, Poppy Honey Rosie Oliver. Is that his real kid's name, or have I made that up?
That's his real kid's name.
That's his real kid, because I think I saw her on the show.
That's correct. The next child's name, Petal Blossom Rainbow Oliver. Real or no real?
Real.
I'm saying real.
Yes. Is it real, or have I just made it up? Buddy Bear Maurice Oliver.
It's fake.
Real.
That one is real. Real. River Rocket Blue Dallas. Real or no real?
I'm saying real.
Yes, that is real. And your last one, Daisy Boo Pamela Oliver. Real or no real?
That's
I'm
fake.
going to say real.
Yeah, that's real. I'm trying to make a point that yes, very strange names for his children. Probably.
Not even on the.
I gave it a quick Google. So the top is Jamie Oliver. The top one is vegan, married, Italian, still married. Oh, the next one gets better after this. It goes Down syndrome.
I can see a Brock giggling.
A Michelin star chef, a Tory, and the last one's a chef. That's worrying, isn't it? But yeah, he's a very strange mum, to put it politely.
And a Tory, that's a combination you don't want to miss.
I like the fact that someone googled, is he a chef, which is probably an insult in itself.
I think he's gone beyond at this point.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, he's more of a glorified YouTuber by now.
Yeah, but how many monthly listeners does he have?
Alright, KSI.
I mean, he's no epic mealtime, but
I think there are better chefs out there. I think he just got lucky at the right time.
Is Nigella Lawson, does she know what she's talking about, or is she just chatting shit?
it depends how much cocaine she's done.
I knew we were going there. I think she's in the middle. I think there's times when she's like absolutely on it, and then there's times where I'd think you've just pulled this out your ass. But
Or she's just pulled it out the microwave.
Oh, don't start with that.
I think my issue with Nigella, the food she cooks seems very nice. Since if you ever watch any of her programmes, it does feel very softcore pornography.
Short burst of therapeutic cock.
I think that's the intent.
Because I feel
Gosh,
a bit.
that is the only way people watch her show.
You feel a bit uncomfortable with, like, if you're watching with a member of your family in the same room. I do find with her programmes is every time she finishes cooking a meal, it cuts to some B-roll of some guests arriving at a house having a party. It's like she seems having a party every 5 minutes. It's like, what?
Well, she does party every 5 minutes. It's called cocaine.
Wow.
To be fair, John, married to a multi-billionaire, so
Was
this?
I mean, she's probably gotten a good divorce out.
The alimony is
I mean,
going to be incredible from that, to be fair. Should we talk about it's not the same man who liked to force choke her in restaurants in front of paparazzi?
Yeah, this is the guy who she got divorced from in like 2013.
Wasn't it the Saatchi guy once?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to put the word allegedly. She allegedly. We can't prove this.
She usually has a nosebleed every now and then when she's cooking the food. It's because the flavours, they get into the nostrils quicker when you've got a nose.
Yeah, the flavour is too good. In fairness, her food looks nice on the screen, so I won't give her any crap, to be honest. Like, within reason, you watch a programme, when you get over the softcore pornography element, like the food she looks and kind of the way she does it seems a bit knowledgeable, to be fair, so I can give her credit for that, to be fair.
It's fine. I would date Nigella if they get good food.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah. Well, I would date her for more than just the food, but I'm trying to appear as, a reasonable person who isn't just literally there for kicks.
In fairness, I think she'd be an interesting person, so I wouldn't be too mean to her.
Yeah, just remember to make sure the bathrooms are clean before people come over.
Do we have
I make sure she's doing drugs in the bathroom.
Allegedly.
No, she admits to it. Like, she's admitted to using it. Like, she said, but I think that was more back in the day, because I think it was, when she was with the man she was married to. And I think she was.
I reckon she still likes the party. She'll just be like,
on occasion. I like how I was like on occasion, like I know, like me and her are friends.
No, it's just
like, like she's got a long day of filming. She's got to take stuff out of the microwave.
In the microwave.
And the oven.
You just know there's 4 hours
herself a
of
little
B-roll. 4 hours of B-roll, just her sitting there going, "Ooh yes, the microwave."
In the microwave.
Her
I
program.
just like the fact that there's B-roll of her just running around going, I've got to get this cut, I've got to get this cut. Chopping carrots 1,000 at a time.
I do find there's a lot of lazy Susan shots in that program.
She's hot. I mean, no. She seems like a nice enough person. Like, you know, with some TV personalities, it feels like they're putting it on, or you know, they're trying to emphasise X amount of personality. I think she's just genuinely like that. Like,
I think she's just genuinely coked off her tits when she's doing this stuff.
Allegedly.
She's not buzzed. She's not buzzed like all the time. It's like maybe once in a while when she's got a lazy Sunday going on.
Yeah, when the camera crew is there and she has to take things out of the item she can't pronounce properly.
In the microwave.
I wonder if she gets awfully judgy about other people's food, because I mean this is probably true of all chefs, but it's like if you go to someone else's house and they're offering to cook, do you get judgy about their food, or you just go, you know what, someone else is making it, I don't care?
I think it's probably a mixture of the latter and the former.
I don't actually think she cooks.
You think she has just people on the side?
She seems like the kind that would just be downing bottles of wine.
You make her sound like the most coked out,
between her and other things.
This poor woman, just like she sits just some coke feet and just smuggles wine on the side.
God, you make this woman sound like the worst person in the world.
She's such a nice woman, and you just make her sound like the most deviant person to have ever existed.
Mike, did she hurt you in some way? Where
I
is this
think she
coming
did.
from?
I think he met her once and she just didn't care because he tried to serve her some half-baked swill. He's laughing, he's not denying it.
No, I think he was in the street, and then she walked past him, and then he wanted to get her autograph, but he didn't have the confidence to ask her, so...
I was on the street in a row, miles and miles from where I fucking...
Well, we don't know, you could have been.
Looking for Nigella Lawson.
Yeah, but, like, I imagine in real life, like, she is how she is on TV, and she's just very approachable. Nigella Lawson is a very nice woman, and it would be nice to meet her and maybe get some of her food.
Heston Blumenthal. Does he know what he's talking about, or is he just chatting shit?
I don't even think he's human.
He's a weird man. Like even people from like my mom's generation think he's weird. Like he'd like just kidnap people and just like trying to stop put them into things.
It's not even that. Like that dude's clearly a fucking octopus. Or some kind of inhuman animal that can change its shape. To convince humans, no, you can eat a dog shit cookie. It'll be good for you.
See, we talk about Nigella being a coke feed. Well, you do.
Allegedly.
But him, I think he's literally just doing all the drugs. Like, I can't even identify which ones he's doing, he's just doing them all.
He is the drugs, let's face it.
He's entirely...
He walks into a room and they're like, you know, I really like this idea that you can eat a child's heart.
I mean there's some cool...
Oh, God.
I mean, he does some cool stuff, but it's just weird.
Check out the crockery, folks.
Are we meant to eat the crockery?
Oh, look.
I mean, the cutlery.
Oh, it's chocolate. It's chocolate spoons.
Like, I think he knows what he's talking about in terms of a scientific level, but as a chef, I think it's sort of half and half. It's like, you know, if I get him on a bad day, I'm probably not getting good food.
He does, like, as a kid, whenever I thought about Heston Blumenthal, I got some strange magician vibes off him. Like, I don't know
you
why.
Know, he does like magician, actually, now that you mention it.
He does feel like actually like Dynamo, or like Chris Angel.
Or
David Brown. But with Heston Blumenthal, I find him a bit, like, strange and just, like, he knows more stuff than he's letting on.
Yeah, I think there's that, but I think
like
that...
when the invasion begins.
yes, he's a fellow Mars people.
He's a settler pod, we all know.
Watching him on cooking shows, like, people are in awe of him, and I'm kind of like that, but I'm also like, he's a little... I bet he's fun at parties, though. He might just be a genius savant when it comes to food, and us lower life forms have just not clocked what good food is yet.
No, I don't think so. But when have you ever sat there thinking, you know, with these sweet wrappers, I really wish I could eat the rapper. Who the fuck thinks that?
I mean, it'd be good for Cleda because obviously, you know, because she was sweet rappers is your
Yeah,
independent
but
one.
the thing is, you then got to put that rapper inside of a rapper so that, you know, it doesn't fall on the floor and get unusable, or, you know, somebody doesn't get their grubby hands on it and put it back.
It's a fair point.
The whole reason rappers exist.
I mean, you know, there's a bunch of wacky things, you know, which is, I think the question to it is why, but I think that's just him.
Yeah, to be fair, we're slagging him off. The dude hasn't been on TV for like, what, 10 years?
Like 5, but yeah.
That is true. Like, has anyone actually seen him, like, recently? I don't think anybody actually.
Yeah, I saw him in real life, and I haven't. But no, he's about. That explains it. No, I bet he's about. He's probably just concocting stuff in his Willy Wonka kitchen.
You mean his shed?
Yes.
Because that was where because they'd put the repeats on Channel 4 a couple of months back, and it was all done in a shed in the middle of nowhere.
Anthony Harriet, does he know what he's talking about, or is he chatting shit?
Talking about because he likes, you know, he's a great chef, and he's probably the most memeable chef of a generation. Just given up the fact.
And I expect to see those memes in this video.
Yeah. Give your meat a good old rub.
Give your meat a good old rub.
And also, yes, boy.
Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
To be fair, he sort of went into like typical TV personality irrelevancy, like in the mid 2000s after Ready Steady Cook sort of, you know, unearthed itself from the universe, and then all of a sudden people on the internet found Ainsley Harriott and they're just like, yes, boy.
Yeah, boy.
I think with that, it's probably because a lot of people grew up with him, and then when they got older, clocked how much of a gem he is, and how I did remember hearing on the radio before is, did you know? I think he's a lord nowadays. Lord or OBE.
I remember watching a talk he did recently. I remember him doing a talk. I can't remember which university it was, but it was him talking about how he felt about memes. Well, him being in the memes, and
We like a bit of that, don't we? What's he like? Oh, yes, lovely. Wow. Do you know what? I've got to say that the whole meme thing, isn't it amazing? I mean, all you guys are responsible for it, but unbelievable.
But yeah, like, you know, like Ainsley Harriott does stuff. It's just sort of a shame that, you know, sort of just, you know, disappeared into the ether and then, you know, sort of just appeared like in your fairy liquid adverts.
You know, not everything that looks alike is alike. Imagine this was a bottle of fairy liquid and that was another make. That's all right. A tiny bit of fairy. Now that's the business, and that's why fairy does so much more from just one tiny squirt.
Does it?
Yeah, you don't remember when Ainsley Harriott turned up with like the fairy liquid?
Yeah, because it's mostly just the baby advert now, which is really boring.
You know what the irony of the whole situation is? Ainsley Harriott is like 64, but the man does not look a day over 40.
It is not.
I think it's because of the meme energy.
Yeah,
he's
like
so
the
much of a
universe.
nice. It's because he's so much of a nice person. Like, the world just refuses to let him age.
Yeah, he's got the spirit
I
bomb
think
of
it's because of his
positive
herbal
energy.
medication that he takes.
It doesn't strike me as the kind of guy to do drugs, but I think
That was meant to be a weed.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I think that's black genetics that works.
Black don't
give him another, give him another 5-10 years, and you know we'll start to see the signs of advanced aging.
No, but I do like with Anthony Harriott and MBE. Because that is true. He does do some. In fairness, I will give him some credit. He does do. He's had a couple of generic sort of ITV cooking shows, like his Caribbean Kitchen or his Mediterranean food sort of programs. And I did where he's insert him with some beautiful backdrop behind him while he's cooking some food and stuff.
Yeah, boy.
His are a lot more interesting than modern day one because you know he's one of those few chefs that will dance and won't look like an idiot when he does it.
Mary Berry, does she know what she's talking about, or is she just chatting shit?
No, because as everybody knows this, she was the villain in the last 2 Wolfenstein games.
Oh, that's fucking mean. Because she's blatantly Skeletor.
Wow.
Oh, this is all getting...
No, that's me. She's every time I say her, I just think of Skeletor. I don't know why.
It's because all she does is drink alcohol, that's it. She hasn't seen water since the 50s.
Like a nice enough lady, like, you know, like she's like old school, like presenter chef.
I think her general appeal is because she seems like your generic kind of granny that everybody has. That is a bit old, dottery, but she's a bit sweet because she does all the cooking and stuff.
No, you just know when she's cooking. Like she seems like old and divvy when she's like just moving about generally, but when she cooks, she just like hooks up. She's like, yeah, let's get this done.
Right, my nan was the same before she died. My nan used to drink a bottle of gin every day. I'm pretty sure Mary Berry drinks twice now, or 3 times.
Maybe that's why she's lived so long.
She can't get too close to the oven for fear of catching on fire.
Oh my god.
Blood is 90% jet fuel at this stage.
She's been a fun TV personality, you know. I do miss her on the Great British Bake Off.
I didn't really watch it when she was in it, to be honest. I can't
Which
really
is
comment.
fair. That's my nice comment for her.
She can handle a knife well, so it's probably best to kind of cut out most of what it.
She knows what she's talking about, to be fair, so I won't give her too much crap.
You know what? It's like, remember in Game of Thrones when the Hound fought that guy with the fire sword?
Yes.
You mean Baron Dondarrion?
Put up a vein, it'd set fire to the sword she's holding, and that'd be the end of it.
She's not Azor Ahai, the prince who was promised. No, but she seems like she'd be a lot of fun. I think if you got her, Nigella, and Ainsley into a room, like you'd just end up having a party.
But to be fair, if you get Nigella in a room, then
oh my god! I knew you were gonna go there.
No, so, look, anywhere Ainsley Harriet goes is just gonna be a nice calm time. Ignore the 2 cycles.